Now that we got the chassis stiffened up on Project Betty with a set of our CJ Classic subframe connectors, today Brendan and I are going to focus on upgrades to the rear suspension.
So today on Project Betty, we're going to be doing some rear suspension. Bill, what do we got here?
So today we're going to do leaf springs in rear shocks, and we're actually going to do a sway bar and some other stuff down the road, but this is going to be the basics of the build. The leaf springs we're going with are going to be the CJ Classics. These are 4.5 leaf, which is kind of very unique. A lot of them are either 4 or 5. Now the 4 is kind of your regular duty spring. Your 5 is going to be a heavier duty. This kind of puts you right in the middle. So you get that stiffness and the performance without being too harsh of a ride. Plus you're going to drop our car about an inch. For shocks, we went with QA1. Now these are their Stalker Star double adjustables. Now Brendan, what is the benefit of a double adjustable? Talk to the guys here. I know you're more of a suspension guru than I am. So
the big thing about double adjustable shocks, you can adjust your rebound and compression. So you can set your shock to what you're going with, the travel of your vehicle, and set up for the bumps and the steering of your, whatever you need for your vehicle for turning.
So something like that allow us to basically take Project Betty and set it up for cruising down the road. And if we hit an autocross or whatever, we'll be ready to go there as well. Well, let's get started with the installation.
Yeah.
Now, if you caught the video on the subframe connectors we did recently, you remember that we actually had to cut our leaf spring, which is very, very common with these classic Mustangs, because the bolt actually rusts to the sleeve and it becomes one piece and there's no way to get it out. So ours has already been cut off in the front. Brendan's gonna work on removing it from the back.
So what I'm doing on the rear leaf spring is taking the 2 nuts off, taking the backing plate to remove the whole shackle.
You better move your camera, buddy.
Okay. Just like the front leaf springs, these both seize inside the leaf spring, so I'm just going to cut the shackle and get this whole thing removed. After our leaf springs all removed, now remove your shock with the 1 nut on the bottom and 1 nut on top. And then after you get the shock off, I recommend cutting the U-bolts. If you feel adventurous, take a impact or a ratchet and remove all the nuts.
There it goes.
Last thing we have to remove is the old bushings in the body. Now we can start our install. Install your new bushings. Then grab your leaf spring. Okay, grab your leaf spring, slide it into the body. Roll your leaf spring to the back and slide your rear shackle in. Put your outer plate on, put your nuts on, then tighten it down.
Leafs matted, put the original plates now back in with our new leaf spring U-bolts. We do offer these plates new if you need them, but ours are in decent shape, so just hit them with a little bit of paint. There's a stud in the bottom of the leaf spring. Make sure that is centered in the plate. All right, now we're gonna install the shocks. Put the bottom through the bracket here. Put the second bushing on. And the nut. Now we're extending the shock up into a higher point. Then we bring it down, we can lift this up, put it up in the trunk, and tighten it down.
A lot of people ask when tightening down these shocks, how tight is tight for the shocks with these bushings. I usually go when it's squished halfway down. Once it's halfway, then I'm good to go. Now the last thing all we have to do is just mount the shocks to the top with a nut, tighten it down with 9/16, and then you're done.
The rod height for our new leaf springs is kind of right where I thought it'd be. I mean, it's definitely lower than it was. It's not slammed by any stretch, but again, we also have no fuel, there's no weight in the car. But these are gonna work perfectly for what we're gonna do with this car. Is basically get out, drive it, enjoy it. We want a car that handles and performs. Those shocks will let us really dial everything at.
Tune it to what we want.
Exactly. So rear suspension's coming along nice. Next time out, we'll do some work on the front suspension.